So what do you make of, the sittings of both the Senate and the House of Representatives and the amendments to the proclamation or to the, emergency rule that came out of both houses yesterday?
As per the Constitution, I think Chapter 8, Part 2, and of Section 305 of Nigerian Constitution made it abundantly clear that the president need to send this gazette to the National Assembly so they can vote on this proclamation. I think he did the right thing, and it's also left for the House and the Senate to make amendments as they choose fit. And you know very well that the president also has the power to withdraw, this proclamation of state of emergency, depending, on the stability in River State. It's possible. He was the person that instituted it. He also has the right, to withdraw it at any point in time. I think.
Many thanks, Dr.
Yes.
Bakahi, for your opening comments, on the state of emergency in River State. But many people, are opposed to the manner in which the members of the National Assembly voted, on this matter. Some have said that the voice vote, may not necessarily give, some members the opportunity to air their view about the situation. What's your take?
Well, I think in every democracy, both in advanced democracies, the National Assembly chooses their own way of voting. I know very well that in the US, in some cases, they also use voice vote. So I don't really see, if it's in agreement, with members of the National Assembly, that voice vote should be used to count. I don't think there is nothing wrong with it, in my view.
No, but back to the amendment which Victor was trying to ask you about. Let's look particularly at the fact that the lawmakers are insisting that a ad hoc committee is set up, to oversight River State instead of the presidency doing that. What does that say about all of this?
Well, if you base it on the Constitution, like I've cited, that particular section 35, Chapter 8, Part 2, it made it abundantly clear that it's the president that will institute proclamation of state of emergency, after which he will now transmit it to the National Assembly. It's not the other way around. So I think the president did what is constitutional, what is appropriate, and also what is timely.
No, but that's not the contention. The president did right by, by the country, right? But that's past now. Yesterday, the National Assembly had to deal with this, as you just mentioned, required by law. And it came with amendments. While the House of Representatives insisted on oversighting, making laws for the state while all this lasts, the Senate wants everything to end within the 6 months. A reconciliation committee to be set up to reconcile the aggrieved parties or the warring parties, among others. So what do you make of all of this?
Well, I think every Nigerian wants the best for River State. If having a committee in place to look into the affairs of River State in order to bring stability, I think is a step in the right direction. But you have to understand, like I pointed out, the genesis or the history, of this quagmire in River State. You are well aware that the president at some point has gotten involved in brokering peace, mediating peace, among the affected parties. It didn't work. The judiciary has also done a similar thing, you know, with some rulings, you know, requiring the state governor and the state house of assembly to work together in order to bring stability to that particular state. But it didn't work as well. That's why I say that essentially the president took the right decision. Listen, let me tell you, if President Obasanjo in 2003/2004 had instituted a proclamation of state of emergency in Plateau State, over 2,000 to 3,000 people that perished, that died in that conflict, would have been alive today. So, see, our president is a seasoned politician who understands the intricacies and underpinnings, both in politics and governance. He's looking at the future. You know, River State is the treasure of this country. And if he did not handle this in this particular way, there will be chaos. You know, like I said, over 95% of our revenue as a country comes from Niger Delta. So if there is chaos in that place, there was already a present danger of instability in the country, in River State. And if the president hadn't instituted this proclamation, truly, in my view, the state House of Assembly would have tried to impeach Governor Fubara. If you watch the political trajectory in River State, they would have impeached him and there would have been chaos in River State, which will lead to economic misfortune of this great country.
All right. Well said, Dr. George Bakahe. It looks like we have a second guest. Okay, once that connection is better, of course, good enough, would have a second guest join us for this conversation. You know, going forward, you already talked about, you know, this stopping the impeachment process, which, you know, the House of Assembly would have, you know, started, or if you like, had already attempted to start and all of that. But now that we're here, River State has a sole administrator. What would you expect the sole administrator to be doing at this point?
Well, I believe the sole administrator is a man of immense integrity who served this country well. You know, I think in the Navy, is somebody that is well respected in the Niger Delta. You know, having served as the naval chief. You know, what I really expect him to do is to remain neutral in the issues of River State. You know, and also engage the contending you know, powers there in order to fashion out a way, you know, to bring stability to the state. It's very important. If he goes in there and start taking sides, that's where we will also have problem. And like I said, if there are tendencies that there will be absolute peace and stability in River State, at some point the president, you know, being somebody who is very sagacious, may call this state of emergency off, because he wants the best for River State, you know, considering the significance of River State to the overall economy of Nigeria.
All right, Dr. Agbakahi, thank you very much. You know, going forward, given the situation of things at the moment, there's a sole administrator, the National Assembly wants, you know, a committee to reconcile parties. How do you think that they can make progress in this regard?
Like I said earlier, I think this is a work in progress. You know, the main point is that there is already a state of emergency in River State, which means that will definitely preclude any action that will try to derail, you know, the functioning of government. You know, see, the president has instituted a lot of both economic and political reforms, you know, which we all know. So I don't think the president or the government will sit by and see chaos emanate in River State and destroy all he has tried to do in the past 18 months.